welcome back to another segment of Unleashing the World of Music and Poetry. My name is Tammy Bowers, and I am your host for tonight's segment. So, we have something very special in store for you guys. We have the one, the only, Miss Alecia Aichelle. She's a Canadian country artist, and you're going to get to hear her brand new single, Household, that's just been released. Also, her new video to Household is being released tonight as well. So let's get started with this awesome interview with Miss Alecia Aichelle. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another segment of Unleashing the World of Music and Poetry. We have with us today Canadian country artist, Alecia Aichelle. Welcome, Alecia. Thank you so much for taking time out of your world to be a part of ours. And who do you have with us today? Who is that little baby in your hands?
This is Cash, Mr. Cash. I'll hold him up so everyone can see him. He's so cute.
The baby.
Yeah,
Aww.
he's my baby. So he's my Frenchie, and he's named after Johnny Cash, the man in black himself.
Oh, wow.
And he's my second Frenchie. My first Frenchie, Hank, unfortunately is in heaven now. And took me about a year before I was ready to get another one.
Yeah.
So Cash turns 2 on May 1st, so coming up. And and I've had him since almost 2 years since he was born. Old enough to come home, and he's a good little guy. He can be a stinker, but
Oh, look at him. He's like mama.
Yeah. He's a mama's boy.
He's so precious. Look at him. Oh, do you take him on all your interviews, and do you take him on tour when you would go out of town and so forth?
So we were living in Nashville last year for 9 months, and he was with me, and he's been on radio tour before COVID, pre-COVID, when we could actually go into the stations. Everything's still very closed. I'm back in Canada now. He used to come on radio tour with me. And, come pretty much everywhere I can take him, he goes. He's very well traveled. And, he's my little music mascot. And that's what Hank was too. Hank would come to shows and come on radio tour. Everybody knew Hank. Everyone knows Cash now. It's kind of, a big part of me. I just love animals and dogs. So, yeah.
Oh, he's beautiful. He's beautiful. Well, thank you. And thank you for joining me today. So let's talk about your childhood and growing up, and how music influenced you growing up and how it came about, and just that aha moment of, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So you were born in Canada, is that correct? Born and raised in Canada?
Yeah, born and raised in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. So that's our furthest west province. Mm-hmm. And where I grew up, country music was not really cool when I was a little kid. And I grew up singing in church, and my parents, got me into music at a young age and really saw that it was a God-given gift and passion, and put me in classical piano when I was 8 years old, and I went into lessons as a teenager, and they're the ones who introduced me to country music. So I was probably, maybe 8 years old, and they started listening to all this country, because I grew up on a lot of Christian music. Yeah. And they introduced me to country music, and I fell in love with the different artists, both American and Canadian artists. And I just knew, this is what I love. This is what I want to do. And, country was not cool growing up, but I always stuck to my guns, and I'm like, this is who I am. I don't care if I'm cool or not. it's who I am, and it's what I love. And and I've just always been passionate about country music and the stories and songwriting. And it's amazing.
Right. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Now, didn't you have a little bit of a scare there where they said you would never sing again? What happened? What happened with that?
I did. So I had graduated high school, and I was moving to Alberta, which is the province I'm currently in. And I was moving about 9 hours away from home to attend a music program in college as a voice major with scholarships. And shortly before I graduated high school, a tumor was found in my thyroid gland. And they did all kinds of tests, biopsies, and couldn't tell if it was cancerous or not. It kept coming back inconclusive. So the doctor said, we're going to have to remove the tumor because it's quite big and it could turn into cancer if it's not already. So they went in and they removed the tumor. And during the surgery, they said, we're going to be extra careful. We know you're a singer.
Yeah.
And somehow they accidentally severed the recurrent laryngeal nerve that makes the vocal cords move.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I woke up with no voice. And at that point, they didn't realize what had happened. They thought, oh, it's just swelling. Your voice will come back. And 3 weeks later, I moved to a new province. I moved to a new city in a new province to attend college as a voice major. I had no voice. I couldn't even talk. I had like teeniest little whisper. And so, starting into college, the doctors were putting me on medication saying, oh, it's just swelling. And my voice coach said, something's not right here. So she got me in with a throat specialist. And that's when he put the tube down with the camera on down my nose to look in my throat, found that my right vocal cord was completely paralyzed.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so my left vocal cord was trying to move all the way to my right vocal cord to, make the sound. And obviously it couldn't. And my right vocal cord was laying there completely paralyzed. And that's when he realized that nerve had been severed. And he told me right then and there, you're never going to talk again. And you're never going to sing again. So as you can imagine, it was devastating. It was shocking. It was, almost unbelievable. Like, what? How are you doing this? And had just graduated high school and was just ready to start really chasing my dreams and really going after it. And I have a strong faith. And I remember just being so angry with God and being like, God, why give me the gift and the passion and scholarships and provide all of these things for me to go to college and then just take it. Yeah. And I felt pretty early on, I felt a peace inside, and I just felt like, you know what, God's going to heal me. There's going to be a miracle in this. I don't know why this is happening. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know, what I'm going to learn from this, but there's a reason for everything. And I just believed in a miracle. And 3 months later, my speaking voice came back. I went back into the specialist, and he walked in and said, hey, Alecia, how are you? And I said, good, how are you? And his jaw just dropped. He was totally shocked. And he said, you're talking. And he fumbled around to get the camera, stuck the camera down the tube down my nose, and looked and saw that my vocal cords were both moving and almost in full movement. And he said, this is crazy. He said, this cannot be explained scientifically. And I said, well, I have a very strong faith, and I believed in a miracle, and thousands of people were praying, people across Canada, people I didn't even know were praying for me. I mean, the power of prayer. And I just said, I just believed that I was going to get my voice back, and believed in a miracle. And he got tears in his eyes because he had been quite skeptical, prior to that. And he got tears in his eyes. He just said, wow, you need to come back in a few months. I got to follow this. So I went back in 3 more months. And at that point, my vocal cords were 100% movement, 100% healthy. And he said, you can start singing again. So it was quite an ordeal. It taught me patience, for one. It really strengthened my faith, because I grew up in church and grew up as a Christian, but my faith had never really been made real to me until it was tested like that, and until I really saw, God's hand in my life and that miracle. So now I love to share that story, because it's my story, and it's something that I went through. And I have this scar, and you can see it more in the summer when I get really tan, but I used to be so like, oh, I don't like that scar. And now I love it because it's part of me. And it reminds me every day when I see that scar of what I've been through and where I've come from and what God did. And so I love to share that story of hope. I just love to, hopefully encourage others with that story.
Yeah, it just shows that you have the faith of a mustard seed. God can move mountains. I'm very spiritual myself. I grew up in church too, singing, so I know exactly, your train of thought, and that, what a powerful story to share with everybody. That's just it's just a beautiful story of God's grace and what He can do. And so now you are about to release a new video. Is that correct? For Household. Awesome.
Yes, and tonight it will be out tonight, so that's pretty exciting.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So let's talk about that song, Household. So how did that song come about?
Yeah, so household, it's very, I mean, I know you've listened to it and shared with me that it really resonated with you. And this song is very honest, it's very raw. It's about what I went through recently, just a couple of years ago. So before I moved to Nashville, I was in a 5-year relationship. It was very serious. I thought that it was my forever. Yeah. And we bought a chunk of land, 5 acres out in the middle of nowhere kind of thing, a farm. And it was just an empty canola field. We cultivated it and did everything, did all the fencing and planted crops, and built a house from the ground up. And we built the house ourselves. So, we didn't hire a builder. We were the builders. So a lot of time and effort and energy and love and plan went into that. And, we were together 5 years. And unfortunately, the love that held that household and relationship together fell apart, and it was very unexpected. It was very devastating, and it happened 2 weeks before I was headed to Nashville, just on a trip to record that had already been booked, and was headed down to record because I'd been going to Nashville for quite a few years, a couple times a year, to record and perform and write. And so when I went, I just said, you know what, I'm going to see if I can move to Nashville. I'm going to see if I can if the opportunity is there to move for a while. And it's hard as a Canadian because we need certain work visas and things. But I thought, you know what, God, if it's your will, open the door. If it's not your will, close the door. And so I went down to Nashville, and it was, did my recording and everything. And it was amazing because just as every door seemed to be closing on an opportunity for me to move and somewhere to live, just to go for, a few months to try it out, God opened the door in the biggest way, through friends of friends who just had met me at a show, and they said, come live with us. And I said, you don't even know me. they just said, yeah, but we can just tell, and we know your friends, and we can just tell that you're a good person, and we would love to bless you in that way, and love to have you come live with us. And like the most amazing Christian family. And they have animals, and so they loved Cash. They're like, you have to bring your dog, and like just incredible people.
Wow.
And so I moved down there September 2019, and I ended up staying until June of 2020. I was there for 9 months. I was home at Christmas time, back to Canada for Christmas, but I was down there for 9 months and just, had an amazing time. And so really, when that opportunity came to move, I just said, you know what, I got to pick up the pieces of my broken heart and move to Nashville and turn my heartbreak into songs. And that's what songwriters do best. Exactly. So kind of long story, but kind of roundabout story there. But Household came from, that story of, we built this house and building those dreams and what you think is a future, and then everything just falling apart. And there being really nothing left in the house to hold. And so I wrote that when I was living in Nashville with Kelly Sudell. She's an amazing writer down there. And I knew right away when I wrote it, I got to record this one. It just wasn't a summer song. So last summer I released Get Lost, which was more of a summer song. Yeah. And I was planning to record Household with my producer, Daniel Dennis, in Nashville. But I'm kind of stuck in Canada right now because of the pandemic. I'm still here. I thought I'd only be back for a few months, and I'm still here in Canada, just because everything is still very closed up here. And so I recorded it at MCC Studio in Calgary, Alberta. And I'm just, really happy with how it turned out, and really blessed that I was able to still record up here and get this project out. And it's definitely brought my heart, I think, the healing that it needed.
That's awesome. And it's always, I tell people, music will heal you, and it will get you through those valleys that you go through. It's there for you when you're up on the mountain, but whenever you're down in the valleys, you can put a song on, and it'll help you get through that day or that week or that year. So music is very powerful, how it helps us, heal. So.
Absolutely.
And that's just a beautiful, beautiful story again, right there is. And, for you to be just so vulnerable, in this song, is very brave. So I want to say, commend you on that, and for your vulnerability, and just being, like I said, so brave to write such a beautiful song. Thank you so much. And I know I appreciate it because I think everyone can take something away from that song.
Mhm.
Because we've all been through heartache. We've all been
Yeah.
through that. We've all dealt with breakups and or even
Mhm.
friendships. Lost loved ones and friendships. So we all. So it's because we always have that dream of a household.
Yeah.
And it's just a powerful song. So thank you so much. So what do you got? What do you got in store for 2021?
Well, 2021 honestly is a little bit up in the air for me. And that's funny because I'm a very planned person and I usually, I'm very goal oriented and I usually have like all these plans and kind of deadlines and things. But because of the pandemic and in Canada, unfortunately, we're still very closed. We're actually on lockdown right now. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
not even allowed to travel right now and everything is very, we're just very behind. Like I know down in the US, all my friends are touring again and performing. And I'm just kind of waiting. God has me in a waiting period right now and just waiting to see where he wants me. And I know I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. And I'm waiting to see if the door opens for me to move back or if I'm going to stay in Canada. But to move back, God needs to open the door. And there's a lot of things like the work visa and place to live and the things that need to come together. And I did leave half my stuff down there. So I'm hoping to at least come down on a trip this summer to reconnect with everyone. But as far as that goes, I mean, I'm constantly writing music and I'm thankfully can write over Zoom and FaceTime and Skype. So I've been keeping busy with a lot of co-writes and both writers in Nashville and here in Canada. And I have a lot of new music. So I'm definitely planning to get back into the studio and hoping to get back to the studio in Nashville. I'll possibly, do some more recording up here in Canada. Just kind of depending where life takes me. And my band and I, we've been practicing up here in Canada when we've been allowed to. Now we're not able to right now, but we're ready to hit the road running. So, I mean, I don't know if we'll have live music up here again in 2021. A lot of the festivals have been canceled already. And so we will see, but as soon as things open, we're ready to hit the road running. I'm just missing being on stage, missing connecting with an audience and fans and friends. So 2021, I'm very hopeful, but I'm also, just kind of, okay, God, where do you want me? What do you have for me? And I know he'll work things out the way that they're supposed to be.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, where can everyone find your music at?
Well, they can find my music on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Amazon, so any of the online platforms. And I also have a YouTube channel, and my new music video tonight will be out on my YouTube channel for Household. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so I love to connect. And I always just tell people, reach out. I love to connect. And and I'm trying to build my following on, YouTube and Spotify. So would love if people would give me a follow, and that'd be awesome.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your world and being a part of ours today. I really appreciate it. It's been a joy to meet you and to hear your beautiful stories and, just how, the power of God has led your life. And, I commend you on that very, very, very much. So thank you so much once again for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tammy. It was my pleasure. And Cash wants to say hi too.
Hi.
We had a great time.
Oh.
Yeah. Good boy.
Well, you have a good day, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Alecia.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
And here is Alecia's new song, Household.
Out in the country, at least a mile down from that exit off the highway, there's a wooden rail fence that leads to a gravel driveway on a piece of land from the ground up. We use timber beams and bricks to build our dreams, a foundation so strong it could weather anything, or so it seemed. When I was with you, it was a bedroom with a view, more than wine on a back porch under the full moon. It was empty space in every move I make is echoing what we used to be. When I was with you, it was a bedroom with a view, more than wine on a back porch under the full moon. It was dancing in the kitchen, it was making plans and wishing. I thought we were building a household, but now there's nothing in this house left to hold on to, 'cause I can't hold you anymore. When I was with you, it was a bedroom with a view, more than wine on a back porch under the full moon. We were dancing in the kitchen, we were making plans and wishing. I thought we were building a household, but now there's nothing in this house left to hold. Out in the country, at least a mile down from that exit off the highway.
And here's another song by Alecia Aichelle, Get Lost.
It's been a while since we changed things up. Don't it feel like we're stuck in a rut? I'm tired of doing the
Thank you so much, Alecia, for taking time out of your world and being a part of ours. What a beautiful story she had to tell with her faith in God and how God moved those mountains so she could sing again. Wow, just touching. It just goes to show you what God can do. Amen. So, and I'm not going to keep going because we'll have church if I do. I can tell so many stories and so many instances where God stepped in and God stepped in and he did it again and again. And he moved those mountains in my life. And it's just, I love hearing those stories from others as well. But thank you all for joining me tonight. And if you like what you are seeing, please hit that little red subscribe button in the right-hand side of the corner. And stay tuned each and every week for another singer, songwriter, artist, or musician, or poet as well. And as always, smile, stay positive, stay true, be you, and stay safe. Good night, everyone.